I'm joined now by Mark Dimenstein, the president of the American Postal Workers Union. Mark, thank you so much for being here. I had so many questions when I saw the news about this today. The Postal Service is so popular, and I'm sure a lot of people watching have questions. So let me just start with, we saw what Trump said. What are you hearing about what he actually wants to do here?
Well, it appears, Jen, and thanks so much for having me on. It's pretty clear that this administration wants to do a hostile takeover of the public.
All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. The she be down the ride, oh, I'll bet that.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. There is so much going on in the country today. People are losing their shit right now. And I don't like to talk about things that I'm not fully aware about or I'm not fully skilled to talk about until I do a little bit of research, so that way I can translate the research that I got or received and read upon and share it with you. Now, we're going to talk about the what ifs, because clearly it's a little bit more than what if at this point. I'll be the first one to say I never, ever in my wildest dreams thought, what if this happened? So again, all I did was report the news. I was sharing some news clips. And unfortunately, what I noticed was that there are a lot of people in the comment section totally bashing each other. Man, it's management's fault. Oh, it's the lazy people's fault. Oh, cut the people at the top. Do this, do that. And everybody that was unified before is now in total disarray. What the fuck happened? Y'all are losing your shit over some what ifs and totally just disrespecting each other in the comment section. Unreal. We all have our opinions and we don't want to point the blame to the current administration, and we don't want to point the blame to the lazy workers, and we don't want to point the blame to the managers. Well, here it goes. Y'all want to know what if, and Jay got the information. Now, this is not the debate. This is what it is. So if you don't want to hear what could possibly happen if we actually went the route of privatization, then please click off, because some of the things you're gonna like and then other things you're not going to like so much. And I'm not gonna make this long and drawn out, but I'm gonna pass on information. We use the data that has been shared with us through the past when a situation like this has occurred before. Where has it occurred? Privatization has occurred in several countries before. The two main countries that I'm going to base the data off of would be the UK and with the Royal Mail, and Germany with the Dutch Post. Okay, I've actually used some of their clips in my videos before, how efficient the Dutch Post, their post offices are amazing. They use little scooters. Anyway, if you don't want to believe me, look it up for yourself. But we want to know what's going to happen to us. Fuck everything else. What's going to happen to us? Well, we're going to give you 5, maybe 5. Number 1, obviously, if we go private, the potential effects on the workforce would be, don't get too happy about it, there's going to be management changes. 100%. Based off of the data from these other companies, this has occurred to. Again, there's going to be a reduction in management positions, especially those deemed unnecessary or redundant. This is going to lead towards a leaner management structure. Y'all are like, well, that's fine. You know why they're going to need less managers? They're not going to have as many people to manage. Let's get into that in a second. So there are plenty of managers that are just there, and we could talk all the shit about. I'm reading comments about postmasters and MPOs and people way up top. Yeah, the six-figure people, yeah, there may be a few cuts there. And please don't get happy because we don't want to see people losing jobs. And y'all like, I don't care. There's going to be a reduction in high-paid personnel who directly do not handle the mail. They're probably going to face a lot of job cuts or reassignments, which is kind of currently what happened right now. The focus is going to shift towards operational efficiency by using these cost-cutting measures. So y'all are still like, yeah, that's great. That's great. Get rid of trim the fat off the top. That's probably what you're thinking. Well, trim the fat off the top. Great. What happens to our protections as the ones that are out there grinding? Now, I'm not just talking to the carriers. I'm not just talking to the mail handlers. I'm talking to every craft employee. Our union protections, they may be at risk. This administration is going to attempt to weaken union influence. We know this because of Mr. Musk. That's up there. It's going to lead to changes in labor agreements and working conditions. They're going to, if they go the route of privatization, and please do your research. When they transitioned in those other countries, they went through the same rocky roads that we're currently going through right now. There's no doubt about it. Don't take my word for it. Just look it up for yourself. The information is readily available. So you could look at this guy and be like, man, F that dude. Yo, don't F this dude. Just look for yourself. The information is there. Problem is that the union protections will be out the window, which is why a lot of the people that we currently have are scared. Because us walking into the job and saying, man, fuck this, I'm not going to work today, or fuck this, I'm leaving, or fuck this, I don't feel good, I'm going. All that shit that we pull, I say we because I pull this shit too. That shit ain't gonna fly. Under a private company, all the fuckery and foolery that we do as postal employees will no longer be acceptable. It don't happen at UPS. It don't happen at FedEx. It don't happen at any other company except for ours. The shit that when I first started working here, I never knew that an employee could look at a manager and tell them F you and this and still have a job. Come to work drunk and come back 2 months later and still have a job. The shit we get away with right now, out the window. Just let that be sitting in your head right now. This may not affect a lot of people, but it's gonna affect some people. Again, don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. Look it up. If we run like a regular private company, all that union protection is be out the window. Some people's like, well, shit, I'm good, man. We got to get rid of them fucking bad apples. I agree. I was a partial bad apple at one time myself. Everybody has done something screwed up. We got to think about it. And then there's going to be operational changes. Because if they change the structure of the union, operational changes is going to happen. Because once they get all those robots and they do all this more efficient stuff, man, look it up for yourself. That's all I can continue to tell you is look at the transition, read it for yourself. I am adamant and passionate about it because I didn't research it before, but now that I did, you should probably research it yourself. I'm translating it the best way I can, but these guys are on scooters and they got their mail things on the back and they're just shooting out everywhere. They are lined up, their offices are clean, they just choo-choo, and they handling business. They're handling business. There's gonna be changes to the schedule. Y'all schedules are not gonna be all cake like you had it to be. There's gonna be more closures of post offices, and there's definitely gonna be increased costs. And one thing for certain, two thing for sure, there's gonna be changes on how the service operates and its workforce structure, right down to the clerks. Look at the Dutch post office. Look at one of those automated post offices. We started to get them already. We did. There's a couple of them that they just used as, I forgot the word, they're test phases, where they don't have the clerk sitting in there like that. They might got one or two. Everything else is automated. This is not a fear tactic. No, no, no. This is what is happening today. And if this goes towards privatization, this is what we have to look forward to. Those robots, we got one of these robots the other day installed in my facility, and one of my buddies is working on it. This eliminated, I think it's 4 to 6 people per shift. So that's 6, let's just say it's just 4. That's 12 people that are displaced from working on that specific robot and their clerks. Where do they go? They are able to go up to 60 miles, I believe. They can be shifted. When they restructure, they can be, somebody's gonna get bumped because they don't just make more positions. There's a set amount of positions, maybe 100 positions, and 12 of those positions were at this robot. Well, they're gonna restructure the actual bid itself. I mean, not the bid, but once they do a reorg, whoever's at the bottom of that seniority list will probably get bumped and have to do that wherever they need it. That's kind of how this thing works. Again, I just need y'all to realize that we get away with a lot right now, and that's truth. The stuff we pull and the stuff we get away with, do I think we deserve it? Absolutely, we deserve great wages. We deserve great working conditions. But if we go private, and I got to choose my words carefully, if we do go private, the attitudes, the way we carry ourselves, the nonchalance, I don't give a damn, the people will end up changing. And like I said from the get-go, the reason they won't need as much management is because what's going on inside the facility, the operation itself, will be more self-efficient. It will be more automated. I challenge you just to look at any YouTube video and just pull up a couple of those things and see how those facilities run on the inside. And I believe I was watching one where a guy said, he was displaced from his hands-on job and he had to learn something with the robots and how to program things. So if you're closed-minded and you're not ready to learn, or you're stuck in your ways, if this occurs, the transition will be difficult for those that are set in their ways. Now, you got this far. If you did get this far, I'm gonna show you a clip, and hopefully, you do with it what you will. It's of Diamondstein talking after Trump spoke about sorry, I even said his name. After the situation was spoken about, and you kind of get to hear what his opinion is about it. Unfortunately, I had to do this video. I didn't want to do this video, but I don't like the people arguing with each other if we're supposed to be unified. All right, this is JH. Hopefully that helped a little bit clarify it and ease you, but it clarified what if. And again, do your research about, and there's a couple people that have said, oh man, the Royal Guard failed and these other places failed. Look, just look it up for yourself. At least you'll know what could possibly happen. Check out this video and tell me what you think.
The MAGA wrecking ball may soon extend to your mailbox. Trump is expected to issue an executive order as soon as this week to fire the members of the Postal Service's governing board and placed the agency under the control of Trump's Commerce Department. 6 people familiar with the plan told the Washington Post. Now, the White House initially denied Trump had any such plans, but then somebody asked Trump himself today, and he all but confirmed it.
We're thinking about doing that, and it'll be a form of a merger, but it'll remain the Postal Service, and I think it'll operate a lot better than it has been over the years.
This isn't a new goal for Trump per se. I mean, over the years, he's repeatedly said he's open to privatizing the Postal Service. And then last month, Trump was reportedly looking into replacements for the Postmaster General that he appointed in his first term. That's Republican mega donor Louis DeJoy. Now, for years, Democrats begged President Biden, I was there for a number of these years, to fire DeJoy. But the Biden administration concluded they didn't have the legal power. So why would Trump want to fire him now, illegally? Well, multiple sources close to the president told the Post that Trump's opinion of DeJoy has suffered since the Postmaster General led the agency to successfully facilitate mail-in voting, including in the 2020 election that Trump lost. So basically, he helped millions of Americans vote during a once-in-a-century pandemic, including many for Trump. So that guy has to go. That's what seems to be based on. And meanwhile, it would mean messing with a vital service Americans rely on. They've relied on it since before the birth of the Republic, by the way, because the postmaster didn't help Trump rig an election. That's what this is about. Now, by the way, Louis DeJoy had already said he planned to resign, but apparently that wasn't enough for Trump. He just wants total control over the U.S. Post Office, I guess. I'm joined now by Mark Dimenstein, the president of the American Postal Workers Union. Mark, thank you so much for being here. I had so many questions when I saw the news about this today. The Postal Service is so popular, and I'm sure a lot of people watching have questions. So let me just start with, we saw what Trump said. What are you hearing about what he actually wants to do here?
Well, it appears, Jen, and thanks so much for having me on. It's pretty clear that this administration wants to do a hostile takeover of the public postal service.
And what does that mean, to privatize it or hostily take it over?
I think it's the big first huge step towards privatizing, meaning selling the post office, breaking it up, selling it off to private corporations for private profit. And it's really important for our viewers to understand, every one of which who is a postal customer, that this wonderful national treasure, which, by the way, is celebrating its 250th anniversary this summer.
It's a lot of years.
This wonderful national treasure, enshrined in the Constitution, created by an act of Congress, supported by the people, right? That it belongs to all of us. And we're getting our pockets picked if this plan is to go through by billionaire oligarchs who want to turn this wonderful national treasure, who runs, we run on the idea of breaking even and serving the people, not making a quick buck. We go everywhere to 167 million addresses every day and sort and transport and deliver mail. The people listening, and really everybody in this country is a postal customer, need to be very concerned about this plan. It doesn't belong, the post office doesn't belong to one person, whether it's Elon Musk or a billionaire or an elected person. It belongs to all of us.
Yeah, we love getting cards in the mail from grandma and all sorts of things. Let me play, I mean, you and I don't need to be in the head of Trump, but I think people are trying to figure out, why did this happen? Let me play a little bit about what he said about that today.
But we want to have a post office that works well and doesn't lose massive amounts of money. It's just been just a tremendous loser for this country. Tremendous amounts of money are being lost. And we think we can do something that'll be very good.
He also talked about mail-in voting. First of all, we know that the Postal Service provides retirement to workers, right? Which is not something other companies do.
That's right.
That's part of why. If they didn't do that, they wouldn't be losing money. Am I correct there?
Well, look, the losing money can get complicated. The president's comments imply that this is taxpayer money. It's not. Postal Service, almost all of it runs off its own revenue. We're not on budget. Postal Service is going through a difficult transition. There's no question that the habits of the people of the country have changed in the way we communicate with each other. And certainly letter mail is down, but packages are up. And in that transition, we believe that the post office, while things are changing, is going to be absolutely necessary popular, needed by the people of the country. And when I talk about the people, I'm not just talking about the individuals. I'm talking about the business community, talking about e-commerce. I'm talking about the democratic right to vote and so on. So and the inflation affected the post office deeply. And last quarter they were in the black. So it's not all gloom and doom by any means.
Well, I want to ask you that question because he keeps on throwing out that accusation, which, as you just explained, is not exactly an accurate depiction of what's going on at the post office. Let me ask you just about this accusation about mail-in ballots and voter fraud. I mean, just to state, voter fraud is of all kinds is extremely rare. 35 countries use mail-in voting. And in 2020, the post office was one of the ways that millions of Americans could vote. Do you think that's at the root of this?
I don't know if it's at the root of it or not, but it's a very good point because that was in the middle of a pandemic. So the Postal Service, including the managers, and of course the workers that we represent that are very dedicated to the mission and the people of the country, we enabled tens of millions of people to safely have access to the ballot box. What could be more cherished than that? Safely, securely, and the only fraud that really is here is those who claim that vote by mail is fraudulent and not safe. It's been proven to work well. People love it. It's ever more popular. And it's a wonderful underlying reason of why we need a public postal service that can serve everybody. Universal service, no matter who we are, where we live, urban, suburban, rural, low income, high income, every nationality, every race. It's here for all of us.
I really appreciate you, Mark, for joining us. The Postal Service is so popular. I think people are wondering, what does this mean? What does this mean for me? And that's one of the things we're trying to explain.
Well, we're going to have to work together with the people of the country to make sure it stays in our hands and stays vibrant going forward for generations to come. Another 250 years.
250 years is a long time. Let's hope so. I really appreciate it.